Hi, everyone, and welcome to this August Human Design Astrology update. Really excited to be with you all here as we are entering into or ending, depending on where you are in the world, the Sirius portal, also referred to as Lionsgate, as well as entering into the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction that I've been talking about for some time. If you want to learn more about that transit that we have coming up on the 1st of August, it's starting today on the 31st of July, but it will peak for most of us in the Western Hemisphere. The North America will be peaking on August 1st. And I did a whole separate YouTube video on this transit if you want to learn more about specifically this Uranus North Node Mars conjunction transit we have coming up. For the sake of today in this video or this podcast episode, if you're listening on the podcast, I will be covering the transits for August, the most important transits that I see, as well as giving you horoscopes based on your rising sign. And I'll be pulling tarot cards at the end for each human design type. So let's get into it. August starts with a bang. Like I've already mentioned, the North Node Uranus Mars conjunction is one of the biggest transits that anyone alive today will live through. This type of transit has not happened in the sign of Taurus since the 1850s. I believe it was like 1846 when this transit last happened, and it wasn't even with Mars. It was just a Uranus North Node conjunction in Taurus, didn't have Mars in it. So this is a very unique transit, and it is really propelling us in a new forward direction. This transit is taking place in Gate 2 in human design, where Uranus has been for several months, but North Node and Mars will be joining Uranus in Gate 2 in human design with line 6 on August 1st, which is really propelling us in a new direction with vigor, with renewed energy, and maybe even with a lot of sudden and unexpected changes, because this is Uranus. You never know what you're going to get with Uranus. So this is a really big time to just get a lot of clarity on what you want to do, how you want to move forward, what you need to release, what you need to refine, what you need to reassess to be able to move forward in alignment with your highest vision, your highest excitement, what has really been calling you to do and create and move forward with. But with Taurus, with this transit taking place in the sign of Taurus, it's going to require a little bit of patience. Things aren't going to move as quickly as we want them to or expect them to. So just be aware of that as well, that things may, although feel like there's a lot happening, there's a lot that's coming in, it's going to be a little bit slow moving too. So we're going to have to have a lot of patience during this time as well with the things that we want to do, and really just make sure that we're operating in alignment with our strategy and authorities, right? Really operating in alignment with your internal guidance system and not trying to rush this process. So to sum up August is really going to be, after this big bang, I feel like is the appropriate term for this transit we have coming up on the 1st, is a big bang of like, whoa, okay, not doing things I've been wanting to do. Where can I reassess? Where can I realign? And then the first 3 weeks of August, I feel, are really about introspection, investigation. What do you want to do? What do you want to learn about? How can you deepen your study? How can you deepen your self-exploration during this time? And towards the end of August, there will be more of a focus on, okay, I released a lot. I released maybe a lot of friends, or I moved, or I released a job. And now I want to call in new friends, new community, because we will have the new moon in Virgo at the end of the month in Gate 59, which is all about intimacy, which I'll get into in a second. Don't want to get too ahead of myself here. But so that's one of the biggest things about August, is really just getting a lot of clarity around what's your direction. What are you moving into? What do you want to be taking action towards? What do you know to be true about yourself, your identity, your sense of direction, where you have been headed, that hasn't been aligned with what you've wanted to do, that you've wanted to create. Uranus, as much as it is a planet of change and innovation, it is also about what is your creative contribution to humanity and how can you take action towards that. With Mars and North Node here, it's like we're really starting the month off with this kind of fuel, and this really like key in our ignition. I talk about this in my YouTube video where I went really deep into this transit and the human design of this transit. This is the key to our car. This is the key to our vehicle. This is like turning us on to really be asking ourselves, okay, am I moving in the direction that I want to? And if not, how can I? What do I need to do? And what kind of, what do I need to prioritize in my life to be able to do that and to be able to move forward with this energy and not feel too scattered, too floaty, too ungrounded, right? With this being Taurus, it's like we really have to balance our ability to make those changes with being grounded in making those changes and be kind of practical about it as well. With line 6 here, it's like, how can you kind of, sit on the roof of things and observe what needs to change and take those small steps you need to right now in order to solidify that change over time. Because again, Taurus energy, it's not going to happen overnight. We're planting seeds right now. They're not going to grow instantly. And we really have to have patience through that process of the natural evolution of what it is that we're planting seeds around. So check where, you had the new moon we just had in Leo, because that's going to give you more insight into this 6-month cycle that you're beginning as well right now in that specific area of your life. I talked about this in the horoscopes that I did for the July update. If you want to go back and listen to that horoscope for your rising sign to know what area of life this is going to be affecting for you and where there's going to be a big focus for you starting now and through the next 6 months. So that's really the biggest energy that we have is, what do you need to reassess? What do you need to refine? And how can you also have patience with yourself through that process? For most of August, we have a lot of Leo, a lot of Virgo energy too. I mean, we just had the sun enter Leo about a week ago. So August is going to feel like we want to socialize. We want to go out there. We want to do things. We want to, put ourselves out there. And while we may, in some ways, it's also going to feel like we need to make sure that there's balance between our introspection time, our self-reflection time, and make sure that we have a balance between those two things. I'm going to consult my trusty human design ephemeris because this was really what I wanted to share with you guys the most in this update is what are the human design transits of August? What are the most important shifts that we'll see through August? And how can I give you guys an insight into what the theme of August is going to be based on your human design? I am doing a human design transit class on the 2nd of August. If you're listening to this or watching this after the 2nd of August, the replay of that class and that teaching will be in my Astro HD membership where all of my classes live. That's kind of like the library of the classes and the teachings that I do on human design and astrology. So if you want to learn the basics of astrology and human design, as well as how to work with the transits of human design, that class I recommend taking because it is going to give you incredible insight into how to apply these transits to your individual chart to give you insight into how this is affecting you as an individual. Because these transits are going to impact us differently depending on what the makeup is of your human design chart, which is unique to you. So we start off August, like I said, with kind of this like retreat energy. It's like there's this theme in the background of like, I want to go out, I want to do things. I want to like, I feel this energy coming. I feel this energy coming in of like just things to do, but it's almost like it's not here yet. Again, that Taurus energy with this big transit of like making sure that we have patience, that we're not trying to rush this process, because the first week of August is going to feel like we want to kind of retreat a little bit. Like the sun in Leo is going to be in gate 33, which is the gate of retreat. It's the gate of privacy. It's the gate of going inward in order to reassess, to reframe, our inward state so that we can take that externally when the time is right? When your strategy and authority tells you, yes, this is correct for you to go out and share this. But a big part of the first half of August will be more internally focused. And again, this is Leo energy. So we are going to be feeling like, oh, I want to lead, I want to share, I want to connect. But there's also that, like I keep saying, like I just keep coming back to this, there's a really big theme of balance and not being distracted by things externally, but making sure that you have that balance to cultivate whatever, whatever you want to learn about, whatever you want to reflect on for yourself, so that you have a balance with the way that that's showing up in the external world. And it's not like you're distracted from the internal world, so your process slows down. Is that making sense? That's kind of the energy for the first week of August. And then as we get into the 6th of August, the sun will move into gate 7, which is all about leadership. We'll have the earth will be in gate 13, which is about listening. So the second week of August, the 6th through the 6th through the 11th of August is going to be kind of a time of like, okay, I've reflected on all these things, all these changes I want to make now. Where is that showing up in my community? Where is that showing up in my job? Where is that showing up in my family? To kind of like these subtle nuances of how I can lead with the things that I've been reflecting on, the things I've been learning for myself, the things I've been cultivating knowledge around. Then on the 12th of August, and from the 12th of August to the 16th of August, the sun in Leo will be in gate 4, which is all about youthful folly. It's all about having this really youthful vigor for what we're doing. So this is when we'll start to kind of feel a shift of like, that that downtime you allowed yourself to have, that self-reflection time you allowed yourself to have the first half of August. There'll start to be this subtle shift of like, okay, now it's time to express, now it's time to share, now it's time to figure out, okay, what are the ways that sharing this brings me joy, and what are the ways that sharing this not only brings me joy and excitement, but brings joy and excitement to the people around me. And I'm going to put a pause there real quick, because on the 11th of August, I got a little bit ahead of myself. On the 11th of August, we have a full moon in Aquarius, which will be taking place in gate 49. And gate 49 is all about the gate of principles. I talked about this in my Saturn retrograde video that I did, and horoscopes that I gave on the Saturn retrograde cycle. We have from, when did that start? I don't even remember when that started. It must have been June to October is when Saturn will be retrograding, mostly through gate 49, which gate 49 is all about, like I said, it's the gate of principles. Okay, what are your values? What principles do you have and live by? Saturn wants you to, the planet Saturn comes to shake you up, to get serious about like being committed and disciplined with these things, right? And gate 49 is like, what are you, what are your principles? What are you really passionate about? What do you really care for and about? And how can you really be integrated and embodied in those things in your life, and be committed and disciplined to those things that you deem valuable, that you deem as like a moral standard for yourself? So a lot of us are raising our standards right now, and this full moon in Aquarius will be a solidification of those standards. There might even be like some uproar, some uprising in places where there are laws being passed, or there's just like things that are being passed by governmental structures that the community, society just isn't okay with. This is also the gate of revolution. So there's gonna be a little bit of, I feel like around the time of this this full moon in Aquarius, time of rebelling, time of, okay, we're not going to stand for this anymore. We're not going to take this anymore. Like, what can we do to make our voices heard and make it known that we're not okay with this? That's kind of the energy on a collective scale. Of course, it's going to depend on where you have an Aquarius in your chart for how this is. And if you have anything in gate 49, or you have anything in gate 19, the other end of the channel, the 1949 channel. But as a whole, this is about making sure that you're living up to your unique principles and standards in your life. So check to, and I'll be going over this for each rising sign at the end, of what area of life this is going to impact for you and fall for you and be a focus of for you. For me, it's in my 5th house. So I'm really getting clear on, okay, what type of men do I want to have around me? What type of, relationship, like dating relationship, do I want to have? 5th house is the house of dating, right? So anyways, that's how this is going to apply to you as an individual. But as a collective level, this is going to be a lot of us really kind of like, I just am getting like the energy of uprising And I literally wrote down here, making changes that benefit the collective for a higher principle, because this gate is all about looking at things as like, okay, what benefits the collective, not for personal power or personal gain, but what benefits the collective as well as the individual? How can we revolutionize and change the system so that it benefits both parties? And it's not just about one person or one corporation seeking power. So that is on the 11th of August, that full moon in Aquarius. Where was I? I was at August 16th. Okay, so like I said, after that full moon, we'll really be asking ourselves, okay, what are the ways we want to move forward with our joy and find our joy and share our joy? Then on August 17th through the 22nd, the sun will be in gate 29, which honestly, I'm blanking on gate 29 right now. Give me 1 second. Keeping it real with y'all, I don't have all these gates memorized. Okay, gate 29 is in the sacral center, and it's all about persevering. So like I said, from the gate of folly, gate 4, we have the sun moving from gate 4 into gate 29, which will be asking us, okay, what are the ways I want to move forward with my joy, share my joy? And with the sun moving into gate 49, which it will be when it enters Virgo, it will be in this gate when it enters Virgo, is like, okay, what are the things I want to say yes to that really excite me, that really bring me that joy? It's, this gate the shadow side of this gate is like wanting to persevere, wanting to do and push through no matter what. But it's like the balance and the harmony comes through this gate when we ask ourselves, is what I'm doing, is what I'm pursuing and persevering in, does it really bring me joy? Because if not, it's kind of like spinning your wheels in the mud, right? It's kind of like you're not really going to get anywhere very quickly. So it's all about making sure that you're doing things in alignment with your joy, saying yes to things that you really deeply, truly want to be doing, and making sure that you're following your strategy and authority in line with that. Because if you overcommit yourself, if you try to just do, that will lead to burnout, and then your whole system kind of like shuts down and needs to recharge before you can do things again, right? So it's about just making sure, again, this big theme of balance is just coming through for August. So that's really what we'll be feeling starting on the 17th of August and then through the 22nd. Then we have on the 22nd, I believe, let me make sure I'm in the right time zone here. Yep, on the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. And then on that day, on the 23rd and the 22nd, we'll really be feeling more called to kind of break out of self-reflection, break out of being really focused on ourselves and cultivating a more outward appearance, energy. The word's not coming to me, but we'll really be more outwardly focused on like, okay, what's my contribution that I'm making? What is the way I want to serve, right? Virgo season, how do you want to serve? How do you want to share your gifts? What can you do to take action towards that is really the energy we'll be moving into towards the 22nd, 23rd of August. And then on the 23rd as well, we have Venus moving out of gate 33, which I talked about at the beginning. Gate 33 is where the sun will be from the 1st to the 5th of August, which will be calling for us to kind of retreat a little bit, kind of like go into hermit mode a little bit. And so when Venus moves out of that gate on the 23rd of August, that's when we'll really be like, okay, time to show up, time to share my voice, my gifts, time to share from everything I've learned these past couple weeks, and really start to like take action in an embodied way towards those changes I want to make that I was really faced with wanting to make and needing to make at the beginning of August. So like I said, it's kind of like a slow moving energy this month. It's kind of like, there has to be a lot of patience with ourselves through this process, and just faith in the process as well as a big theme as well. I just said as well too many times, and like my Chiron and Virgo is like, ah. Anyways, so then on the 23rd, we'll have the sun in gate 59, which is all about intimacy. That's where the new moon will be on the 27th of August, which will have this really setting intentions around what type of intimate relationships do we want to have in our lives, and how can we form those intimate relationships in a way that is practical, in a way that is, you know, geared towards utilizing our energy and the energy of everyone around us in the highest possible form, alignment, expression, so that we can show up and be of service in all the ways that we really want to, and really start to like be in this energy of just ease with what we're doing, with sharing our gifts, and this flow will start to form at the end of August. Setting new intentions around all those things. We'll be wanting to connect more. You know, we'll kind of be coming out of hermit mode. The 20s of August, like the 22nd through the 27th, I feel like we'll really just be setting a lot of intentions around how we want to come out of our shell, how we want to start sharing our gifts, how we want to be moving forward with those things we are faced with, the changes we've been wanting to make, or have been making, or have been like suddenly imposed upon us that we've been making since the beginning of August. And really this whole like year, like there's just been so much change happening for so many of us at really every level. And so the end of August is really about like formalizing that, kind of grounding that energy in so that we can move forward with it. And then so the sun will be in gate 59 from the 23rd to the 28th of August. We'll also have the earth at that time in gate 55, which is all about the gate of spirit. It's about abundance as well. So cultivating a connection with your higher self, with source, with God, whatever you want to call it, and having faith that just having that connection increases your abundance, right? Increases your prosperity, increases your ability to do the things you want to do by having that support system of money. And then the end of August, yeah, this is like the time of community, really the end of August going into September, because we'll have on the 29th of August, the sun will be moving into gate 40 and the earth moving into gate 37, which is the channel of community. This is all about what ways do we belong? What ways do we want to feel like we belong in our community, and how can we create that around us to not feel so alone? So those are the major themes through the weeks of August. If you want to learn more about specifically how to like read the transits on like a day-to-day basis, I'll be going over that in my transit class that I mentioned earlier. What else? I feel like, you know, the beginning of this month too, with this Uranus North Node Mars thing, I just keep coming back to this because it's such a big energy, will be causing a lot of disorientation for a lot of us. But that disorientation will lead to clarity and will lead to empowerment through just really sitting with ourselves. Like I keep coming back to as well, that just period, it's just a great period of self-reflection, introspection. What are you learning about? What do you want to teach yourself, or what do you want to help others teach you, right? Like what are you learning, and how can you just really be, you know, solid in that exploration of that without getting so caught up in the tide or the current of confusion or disorientation, and like really have your roots in like, okay, no, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm learning about. Yes, there's this feeling of like confusion or disorientation, but it's only temporary. And me putting my energy into this thing, or this time for self-reflection, is going to help clear that energy out and lead to empowerment. Cool. So I feel like that pretty much sums up August. We will have Mars entering Gemini on the 20th of August, which I'm super duper excited about. It will be there until next year, I believe, because Mars is going to go retrograde in Gemini in September, I think, or October. Let me see here. October, I believe, is when Mars goes retrograde. But Mars in Gemini is like, and this is again when around the 20th of August, around the 20th, 22nd, we'll really start to feel like, okay, now is the time to share. Now is the time to create that community or strengthen our community, or really put ourselves and what we've learned, our knowledge, into that community, right? And Mars in Gemini is like, yes, it's time to like, you know, Mars in Taurus was like, okay, slow moving, let's have patience, let's just slow down, we're planting seeds. But Mars in Gemini is like boom, 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 like it's 8 of Wands energy. Like it's like things moving really quickly, and through our communication, through our connection with people. Gemini is all about connection and speaking up for things, right? And sharing through stories. So a lot of us will really start to feel more called to, especially when Venus moves out of gate 33. And at that time, Mars will be in gate 24, I believe. So yeah, it's like, what do you want to share? What have you been learning about? What have you been teaching yourself that you really just want to like start sharing and start helping people with in your community? So August feels, oh my gosh, I'm looking at July. I was like, I totally said that wrong. Okay, so Mars will not be in gate 24. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Mars will be in gate 20. Correction. Mars will be in gate 20 when it moves into Gemini. I was like, that doesn't, 24 is Taurus. Like, I was looking at the wrong month. Okay, so yeah, that makes more sense, which is like the gate of the now, right? It's like, what do you want to do now? How can you take action towards that now? And more specifically, when Mars in gate 20 is in gate 4, we'll really be feeling that on the 25th. Okay, super exciting. I'm super excited about August. I'd love to hear what you all are feeling for August, what you're excited for. As I get everything set up here to do the horoscopes, I'll start with the astrology ones, and then I will do card pulls for each human design type. Let me check the comment section. Okay, cool. So for Aries rising, you will have this full moon in Aquarius in your 11th house of community, of long-term visions, of long-term goals, dreams, hopes for yourself, as well as social media. Some of you might be feeling called to show up on social media or just be more disciplined and selective with your community, with your friend groups around this time. That's August 11th. Then at the end of the month, you will have the new moon in Virgo in your 6th house of work, of routine, of health, of well-being. What are the ways you can cultivate a greater balance? If you haven't yet had that through August, what are the ways that you can create a greater balance with your work and your life and your health, and really juggle all those things in a way that your needs are being taken care of when it comes to what you need to do in work, what you need to do in your health, and what you need to do in your community to really show up and be of service with your gifts in the highest way possible. You will have Jupiter retrograding in your 1st house for all of August, which will just be a kind of reflection period of like, what are some ways you can take action to further your expansion when it comes to yourself? Maybe you're learning more about your human design. I like to say that human design is really like the 1st house because it gives you insight into like you as an individual. So you're really learning a lot about yourself right now, Aries, and really experiencing a lot of healing as it relates to your identity, maybe even your appearance, your body image. Everything having to do with you is really going through a revamp and healing right now. Taurus rising. You all have this North Node Uranus conjunction, Mars conjunction in your 1st house. So that is going to be a big focus for you and not taking that forward in August. Of what are the ways you want to make changes to your sense of self, to your identity, to your appearance. You will have this full moon in Aquarius on the 11th in your 10th house. So your career, your public reputation, what are the ways you want to make innovations and changes to how you've been seen in the public or what you've been doing in your career is going to be a really big focus, or just manifesting a glow up in your career is going to happen around the 11th of August. Then at the end of August with the new moon in Virgo will be taking place in your 5th house of dating, romance, creativity, passions. What have you been wanting to take action towards? Because this is going to solidify in that new identity, that new sense of self that you all have really been working on and doing a lot of work around the past few years, that will really start to take hold and solidify through the month of August, starting with that big transit we have at the beginning. And then Jupiter will be retrograde in your 12th house of spirituality, of past life karma, of mental health as well. So just revamping, the ways that you connect to spirituality, connect to a higher power, as well as connect to, taking care of your mental health and making sure that you have a balance with the action you're taking outwardly and the action that you're taking inwardly to take care of yourself and your mental health at this time. Gemini risings. This Uranus North Node Mars conjunction will be happening in your 12th house of spirituality. So really getting clear on, what are the ways you want to connect with a higher power? Are you learning Reiki? Are you learning, what healing modalities are you learning right now or wanting to take action towards learning that you can really help you to be more grounded during this time as well? You have the full moon in Aquarius on the 11th in your 9th house of spirituality, of learning. The 12th house is spirituality. I just realized I used the same keynote word for the 12th house as the 9th house. The 12th house is like how clear is your channel? How connected are you to a higher power? Versus the 9th house is like, what are you learning? What practices are you integrating to connect to that higher power, right? What teachings are you exploring at this time? What is your wisdom and how can you teach from that place? So that's a big focus for you, Gemini, halfway through August of, what are your areas of wisdom and how can you teach from those places? You will have the new moon in Virgo at the end of the month on the 27th of August in your 4th house of home and family. Some of you might be feeling called to move. Some of you might be feeling called to just heal from limiting beliefs left over from your family or things of that nature. Or just connect with people in your life that feel homey, that feel comforting, that feel like family to you. It will be a big focus come the end of August for you, Gemini. And then Jupiter will be in retrograde in your 11th house, as well as Chiron, which is all about community, social media. Maybe you guys are taking a break from social. Maybe you're just getting more clear on the types of friends you want to have around you that are really empowering, that inspire you, and that don't cause what is that word, like competition or comparison. That's what's going on for you, Gemini, in the month of August. Okay, Cancer risings. You guys start off August with this Uranus North Node Mars conjunction in your 11th house of community, of long-term visions and goals. So how do you need to connect more with your sensuality as it relates to your long-term vision that you have for yourself, and how can connecting to your sensuality play a role in your long-term vision, like finding more pleasure in your life, finding more pleasure in your connections, your relationships, or making sure that when you enter into social media that you're on there because it's pleasurable, it's fun, it's not just you enter into a mode of comparison. Halfway through August, you have a full moon in Aquarius on the 11th in your 8th house of transformation of other people's resources. So maybe releasing just a lot of beliefs you've had around intimacy or vulnerability in your life, or maybe calling in more support from the people around you, either monetarily or just energetically. Just having more support from the people around you is a big focus for you guys at this time. Then at the end of August, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 3rd house of communication, of short distance travel. So just getting more clear on what routines are really important to you, how you want to be communicating yourself, and communicating more specifically your gifts and being of service and sharing your gifts with the world in an embodied way, Cancer. You have Jupiter retrograding in your 10th house of career. So there's just a lot of changes and healing happening for you in the public space, in the public sector, maybe even in your career. You're making a lot of changes or just realizing, I don't think I want to be in this type of career anymore. It's not serving me. It's not inspiring to me. It's not giving me energy. It's taking energy from me. So you're going to be making a lot of just changes through those introspections in your career. That's what I have for you, Cancer risings. Leo risings. This Uranus Mars North Node conjunction at the beginning of August is happening in your 10th house of career. So you're probably feeling a lot of pressure right now to make changes in your career or to head in a new direction in your career, one that's more pleasurable for you, one that's more fun, one that's more joyous, or just really being grounded in the changes that you have been feeling you want to make in your career, and really just having more solidity, more embodiment, more groundedness in whatever that venture is for you. Halfway through August on the 11th, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 7th house. So just getting more clear on either a current relationship dynamic or calling in a new relationship dynamic that's more in alignment for you, that feels more committed, that feels more solid, that feels more supportive, that feels more grounding, that also feels just more rooted in your values, your principles, and what you have kind of envisioned having in terms of your relationship. At the end of August, on the 27th, you have a new moon in Virgo in your second house of money. So setting new intentions around what are the ways you want to call in money for yourself, getting more clear on how you can use your gifts to be of service, and maybe starting to charge for what you're doing or raising your prices, that kind of thing, just calling in more money for yourself through the sharing of your gifts and through the ways that you're being of service. Jupiter will be retrograding with Chiron in your 9th house of spirituality, religion, higher education. So just getting more clear on, okay, maybe there's something you wanted to learn. Maybe there's something that you're starting to learn about that was like really just feels expansive for you, really just feels like, yes, this is going to help me cultivate greater wisdom for myself and help me with sharing my gifts as well. So there's just something that you're learning right now that's really going to play a big role into what you're teaching or what you're bringing into your career eventually. That's what I have for you, Leo risings. Virgo risings, you all are starting August off with this Mars Uranus North Node conjunction in your 9th house of higher education, maybe international travel as well. Maybe you're feeling called to travel or just adventure more so that you can just experience life in a better, newer, more fulfilling way than you have been in the past, Virgo. Halfway through August on the 11th, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 6th house of work, routine, health. So cultivating, just making sure that you are cultivating a balance between your work and your personal life, and that when you are taking care of the things in your personal life, you're also taking care of your health and well-being, and you're making that a priority in your life as well as what you're doing in the other areas of your life, Virgo. You guys can tend to be workaholics, so just make sure that you have balance with how much you're working and how much you're taking care of yourself. Around the 27th of August, you have a new moon in your 1st house, which is all about you. What are the ways you want to set intentions around yourself, around taking better care of yourself, your health? And again, I feel like Virgo for you in August, more so than everyone else, there's just this really big focus on having balance between yourself and your outward life, not overworking yourself. There might be more work coming in for you, Virgo, this month, but just making sure that if there is more work coming in for you, or there's more things that you're having to do in your work, that you have a balance with that and how much you're taking care of yourself in your personal life. You have Jupiter and Chiron retrograding your 8th house of transformation of other people's resources. So maybe calling in more support from people around you, or just supporting yourself to go through some sort of internal transformation in a new way. This could be a lot of things. This could be like investing in hypnotherapy, investing in past life regression or something like that, where you're just really going deep into your psyche and learning how to transform that so that you can move forward with this, what you're trying to cultivate in your life, Virgo. That's what I have for you guys. Libra rising. You are starting off August with this Mars Uranus North Node conjunction in your 8th house of transformation of other people's resources. So you might be feeling, you might be getting just more support from the people around you, support from, maybe you're calling in new friends, new groups of people in your life that are really supporting you in a lot of new ways and helping you to make a transformation that you've been wanting to or knowing that you need to make as it relates to your intimacy or vulnerability or debts, taxes, other people's resources, those kinds of things. There's a really big pressure for you to be taking action towards those things and healing your relationship with those things in your life in the month of August, Libra. Halfway through August on the 11th, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 5th house of dating, of romance, of creativity and passion. So really just getting more committed to and disciplined with raising your standards in your dating life, as well as making time for your creative ventures, making time to really make sure that you are pursuing your joy through creativity, whatever resonates with you. Maybe this is graphic design or coloring or dancing. You know, what are the ways you really express your creativity, and how can you be more disciplined and committed to that around this time? Might even be calling in new friend groups at this time too. As at the end of August on the 27th, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 12th house of spirituality, of a higher power, of mental health as well. So setting new intentions around maybe not overworking so much and cultivating a greater balance between, your mental state and how you think of things at the mental level. Jupiter is retrograding your 7th house with Chiron for August, all of August. So you're just getting a lot of clarity around the types of people you want to have in your life, the types of relationships you want to connect with and have in your life as well, maybe romantic or friendships or both. Just calling in new people that really expand you, that really inspire you, that really empower you, that really help you to feel more solid in your sense of self as well. That's what I have for you, Libras. Scorpio rising, Libra. August starts off with a North Node Uranus Mars conjunction in your 7th house of relationships. So just getting more clear on what you want your relationships to look like, what new direction you want your relationships to take, being more embodied in your relationship, having more just open communication in your relationship, and allowing the relationships that you do have or the new relationships that you're calling in to support your sense of self as well, because you guys have been going through this big period of release, releasing old patterns, releasing old ways of being. And so the relationships that you have in your life either support that or hinder that. So just making sure that the relationships you do have and the ones you're calling in are supporting your growth, supporting that transformation, that release, and not causing a stagnation there. Halfway through August, Scorpio, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 4th house of home and family, maybe just solidifying, where you are living, maybe making some changes in your family life, your home life, or feeling just more support in your home and having a better, this is a big theme for all of us, but especially for you, Scorpio, around the time of this full moon, the middle of August, really just cultivating a greater sense of work home balance, because this full moon will be taking place in your 4th house as well as your 10th house. So just getting really clear on what are the ways you can show up in your career, but also making sure that you have that solid home base and support there as well. At the end of August, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 11th house of long-term visions, goals, social media, friendships, community. So maybe calling in new community through the internet, maybe through social media, or just showing up more on social media, putting yourself out there more, to call in more work for yourself in your career, more career success through putting yourself out there into a community or social media, because that's really going to help you to cultivate that long-term vision and really solidify that long-term vision and have you reach those goals that you have for yourself. Jupiter and Chiron are retrograding your 6th house. So again, just making changes, reassessing your relationship with your physical health and your work, and having a greater sense of balance, doing work that's taking care of your physical health and vice versa, versus, kind of one or the other causing both to be out of balance. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio risings. Sagittarius risings. August starts off with this big transit, the North Node Uranus Mars conjunction in your 6th house of work. So you guys are really, really busy with work. And so it's really important that as you step into this new direction of calling in more work through sharing your passions, that you also have a balance of taking care of your physical health, taking care of your body, taking care of your actual well-being and your health. And again, this is a big theme for everyone in August, but especially for you, Sagittarius, just making sure that you have a balance with your work and your health routine, and that you're not, one or the other is not causing you to be out of balance. Halfway through August, you have a full moon in Aquarius on the 11th of August, full moon in Aquarius in your 3rd house of communication. Belief systems as well are a big theme for you around this time, just getting more clear on what you want your belief systems to be and how you're communicating from those places in a way that is in alignment with your highest vision, your highest morals, your highest principles for yourself, and not just stuck in those limiting beliefs or these communication patterns that are from your past, that are old you, stepping into a new form of communication and belief systems. At the end of August, on the 27th, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 10th house. So this is also great time to just get more clear on what are the ways you want to be moving forward in your career. How do you want to be using your gifts to be of service? And also, how can you do that in a way that's having, again, that theme of work-life balance? How can you share your gifts in a way that there's a balance? There's not an overcompensation or a over hindrance or drain of yourself and your energy through what you're doing in your work and how you're sharing your gifts. Jupiter and Chiron are retrograding your 5th house of dating, romance, creativity. So you might just be reframing your relationship with romance in your life, calling in new partners that really empower you, that really feel like you're equal or even inspire you because they're like, whoa, you like really look up to these people. So just calling in new kind of romantic partners in that way, or calling in a new relationship with your creativity, with doing some new venture of creativity that really draws you to it. And that's also going to help you to take care of your physical health and have a greater, it's like you're getting a new hobby so that you can take care of yourself and not be so focused on work all the time, because you do have a lot of work coming in. And so it will be really easy for you to put all your energy in work, but you need to have a balance, right? So that's the theme of August for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn. August starts off with Mars. I just try to combine North and Uranus. Mars North Node Uranus conjunction in your 5th house of dating, of romance, of creativity, Capricorn. So this is a big time to get clear on what are the ways you can be embodied in your passions, embodied in creativity, and kind of like if you've been wanting to call in a new romantic partner, like it's going to happen through you expressing yourself in the most creative and passionate and joyful way possible. It's not going to come from you being really super obsessed and focused on finding that partner or person. It's going to come through you just doing your thing. And then you just all of a sudden, whoa, bump into somebody one day and you're like, oh my God, that kind of thing. So just making sure that you're not getting overly obsessive about your relationships or anything like that, but just kind of having this time to be really focused on you and what brings you joy, what brings you, expression of your creativity and your passions. Halfway through August on the 11th, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 2nd house of money. So this might be a time where you create more money through sharing your gifts or being really disciplined with your finances, maybe starting to just get clarity on like, okay, I really want to call in more money. I really want this amount of money to come in every month, or it to increase every month. And these are the ways that I can do that. So just getting a lot more clarity on really calling in and solidifying in new ways of creating money for yourself, Capricorn. What's the new venture? What's the innovation you need to make to be able to be in that space of calling in and receiving that money? At the end of August on the 27th, Capricorn, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 9th house. So there's a lot you're learning about right now. There's a lot you're learning. I feel like too, this is like, if you haven't had a spiritual community or like-minded community around you, this is a great time to call that in, to be creating that, to be setting intentions around that, because they're also going to be people that teach you a lot and are going to help empower you to want to share your gifts more and then call in that money for yourself, right? It kind of all bleeds into each other. Jupiter retrograde is happening in your 4th house of home and family. So maybe making some changes in your home life or your family life that just feel really healing for you, feel more empowering, feel more inspiring, is what it feels like the theme of this Jupiter retrograde is for you, and will be a factor into your August, as well. All right, Capricorn, happy August. Aquarius rising. This one feels big for you guys. I haven't even gone into anything yet, but so you have the Mars Uranus North Node conjunction happening in your 4th house of home and family, maybe making changes in your home, maybe moving, maybe just calling in more of a supportive family dynamic that is more in alignment with your vision, your destiny, right? What you've been wanting to create for yourself and as it relates to your home and your family life. Halfway through August on the 11th, there's a full moon in your 1st house, Aquarius. So you'll be getting more clarity around just really being solidified in the sense of self that has been culminating and cultivating over the last year or two. You guys have really been focused on yourselves, and around this full moon, there's really just going to be a solidification of that through maybe even through your relationships. New moon in Virgo on the 27th of August in your 8th house of intimacy, vulnerability, shared resources. So maybe you're calling in more intimate connections with people around you, or maybe you're like really committing yourself to a new relationship that's helping you be solidified in your sense of self as well as your career. It just feels like there's a lot just solidifying for you in August, Aquarius. And around these dates of these full moons and new moons is really when you're going to see this kind of just like spark and come to a head, and you'll probably be getting a lot more insight and clarity around those times as well. Jupiter and Chiron are retrograding your 3rd house of communication, so just make sure that you're not overly aggressive with your communication, and that you're really reflecting on, okay, what are the beliefs I want to have that are contributing to the way I'm communicating, taking action or communicating the ways I want to be taking action, right? What are the beliefs behind that communication, and how can you reframe those beliefs to be more in alignment with what you want for yourself and how you want to be expanded, as opposed to just living like you always have been with those sets of beliefs that were just kind of running on auto. And that's August for you, Aquarius. Pisces rising, last but not least, you have the Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction in your 3rd house of communication and belief systems. So changing a lot around your internal communication and how that is playing out in your external communication, and what belief systems you really want to reframe and make changes around and plant new seeds to start a new form of communication from those belief systems that you're changing. Halfway through August on the 11th, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your 12th house, also illuminating your 6th house. So just creating this sense of balance around this time between your physical health and your mental health, and making sure that you have a routine or you have just something in your life that helps you to connect to a higher power, to your strength and your intuition. Maybe this is meditation, maybe this is yoga, just getting really clear about around this time about what practice, spiritual practice specifically, or healing practice like Reiki, is really going to help you to have a sense of balance between your mental health and your physical health. At the end of August on the 27th, you have a new moon in Virgo in your 7th house of relationships, of partnerships. So around this time, setting new intentions around what type of relationships you want to have in your life, what type of people you really want to be intimate with versus what type of people you want to, release and let go of. This is a great time to just also get clear on if you're single, what type of partner you want to have in your life, what type of relationship you want, and how you can really, plant those seeds to call that in over the 6-month period that this cycle will be beginning for you, Pisces. Jupiter is retrograding with Chiron in your 2nd house of money. So just making some changes in your finances, maybe calling in more money through a spiritual practice, or putting yourself out there more, or calling in more money through community, through just sharing your gifts, sharing your healing modality, sharing what you have been learning about, sharing your personal journey, maybe with how you're making changes in your communication and your routine, and maybe just calling in money through that, or your creative ventures and your expression of your creativity, Pisces, because you guys are deeply intuitive and deeply creative, and that is what is going to lead you to money. And so you're really just reframing that at this time. So that's what I have for you, Pisces. Yeah, really excited for August. Thanks for trusting me to read your horoscope of your rising sign. I'm going to pull some cards for each human design type. And then I will conclude this August update video. Cool. All right, I'm going to start with reflectors. Ooh. Okay, reflectors, it feels like you all are really letting go of a lot. Maybe you're learning really how to work more with your, ooh, a lot of messages for you guys. Please hold while I get this one off the floor. I'm going to go reflectors, manifesting generators, generators, manifestors, and projectors. We'll go in evolutionary order. All right, reflectors. So it feels like you guys, there's something that you are leaving behind. There's something that was really draining your energy or just feeling like it caused a lot of conflicts or confrontation for you that you really just weren't comfortable being in. And you guys are really letting that go with this 8 of Cups. It's like you're moving on, you're releasing anything, that was draining your energy. You're releasing those ties where it felt like you just didn't really like who you were around those people or in that situation. And that's correct for you. As a reflector, you're meant to be aware of how things change your state because you are such a mirror. And if it's contributing to where you are or who you're around is contributing to a lot of disappointment, right? That's your not self signal and theme of like, oh, I need to reassess. I need to reframe. I need to make some changes, let things go and move on. So it feels like you all are doing that in August. And it feels like this is bringing you more into alignment with what you truly want for yourself. Excuse me. Bringing in this energy of like your wish fulfillment. It feels like you guys have really been doing just like I'm just getting this theme of like unfairness for you all. Like it just feels like there's really been something that has been weighing heavy on you, that's really been draining you. And you're realizing that and you're letting that go in August so that you can step more into who you want to be around, the things you want to be doing. And there's an equal exchange of energy and balance with what you're doing and who you're around. It feels like there might have been a loss of hope a little bit of like cultivating the perfect, job or community or relationship. And I just want you all to know that that is coming in. It's just like I said at the beginning of this about we have a lot, in Taurus right now. So it's about just realizing it's going to require a little bit of patience for that process of release, refinement. And then when the things really do start to come in, it's going to be really quick. But just know that this whole phase right now is just a little bit slowed down because there's just some things that, aren't quite there yet to come in, if that makes sense. It feels like there's just a lot of muddiness for you, reflector. It feels like there's a lot of confusion or disorientation. And I just want you all to know that this is completely temporary and it's not going to last very long. And the sooner you really let go of it fully, the sooner it will move and the sooner this, what is really meant for you will come in, because you guys are going to have a happy ending sometime in August. By the end of August, you will be like, oh, I'm so glad that happened that way because it created this in my life. And this is really, truly what I wanted. And I'm really like just satisfied by this and surprised by this, right? Your self signature feeling. But it's like, there's, just don't get caught up in the wave of the disorientation because it will pass. And I feel like too, you guys are really just strengthening your intuition this month. You're getting a more closer relationship with yourself, with really knowing yourself and knowing how to work through those ebbs and those flows, those moon cycles, right? That you guys are so susceptible to and sensitive to. You're really learning how to better work and flow with those. And it's contributing to not only your self-confidence, but having more trust in life itself and in this whole process, and really like renewed hope I'm feeling will come by the end of August with the star card here. It's like, yeah, you guys are going to have a renewed sense of hope and trust in your own process and what that release helped bring in. So that's what I have for you, reflectors, for August. I'm going to shuffle and I will be pulling for manifesting generators now. All right, what do we have for manifesting generators for August? Do we have for manifesting generators? Oh, Ace of Cups. I feel like you all have been feeling, I think I skipped last month for these readings. And it feels like July for you all was maybe a little bit of a disappointment. But it feels like something new is coming in through that. Yeah, you all are learning to master the material world. You're learning to how to cultivate a greater sense of balance and groundedness. And really, I've been really realizing lately, I'm going to clear some of this clutter up. How much patience is required as a manifesting generator? Because we get so many ideas, right? And we want to do the things now, especially if you have the channel 2034. You want to do it right now. You get the urge, you want to do it right now. And they, when you research manifest generators, everybody says they skip steps, blah, 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 blah. Then they have to go back and redo them. And that's because we jump on things, right? We do things too quickly. And we don't give ourselves that waiting period because we want to do it right now. We have the idea, we want to do it right now. But what's required, and this is really where, what manifesting generators I feel are really here to master, is that patience, is that, okay, yes, I want to do this thing. I have this idea. Awesome. But I got to wait for the right timing, right? It's all about timing. And that's where the skipping steps comes in. If you try to rush the process, you try to, do it before it's really ready. It's the right time, right? It's gonna, you're gonna have to go back and do it again. And I'm realizing this with my classes that I've been doing. I was doing it, I have the Astro HD membership where all my classes are housed, right? And I was just doing it like, oh, I'll do a class a week and put it in there. And because I wanted to do it right now. I was really excited. I wanted to do it right now. And then I realized, oh, you know what? If I just sit on that idea, the class is better because I waited for more information to come to me and I waited for it to be, the Two of Pentacles just came out, balance. I waited for it to be, the perfect thing that it was going to be, versus if I had rushed it and tried to get it all out right now and do it before the time is right, I probably, looking back, wouldn't have been satisfied with the result. Ace of Wands on the bottom. Renewed sense of how you're taking action, the Ace of Pentacles under that. That is crazy. So many aces for you, manifesting generator. This is a time of, through self-reflection, through introspection, really getting more clarity on what new beginnings you are starting, right? It's all about that timing, that waiting, not trying to rush or not trying to do things too quickly. And that's what I feel this King of Pentacles is saying here. It's, with this Three of Wands, it's like, okay, yeah, you have this new idea, you have this new thing that you want to take action on, but it requires a little bit of groundedness before the fullest expression and the fullest potential of that thing can really come in and be created and have the most impact that it's here to have. There's just so much energy of like balance. Yes, things are coming in, things are changing, right? There's 3 aces in this reading, a manifesting generator. Like there's just a lot of newness. There's a lot of renewed, revigorated energy and just sense of like what you're doing, what direction you're moving in, right? I mean, we're all feeling this with the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction in gate 2. It's like, whoa, okay. pivot. And you all really need to cultivate this sense of patience through that process and what really grounds you into the now. And versus, okay, is this the right time to do this? Or do I need to wait a little bit? Am I trying to rush this? Am I trying to force this? Am I trying to, like, you know, that just theme of impatience is really strong, I feel like, right now, especially with this just intense activation energy we have going on the beginning of August. It's like, yes, it will happen. How can you slow down and trust in the timing and the process versus trying to feel like you need to do it all right now? I mean, like, I can't make this up. Temperance card came out, the Two of Pentacles, which I showed you all already. It's like, there needs to be patience with this process and with the creation. You know, you can't rush the seed that you've planted to grow. You can't rush it. It will happen in divine timing. And as human beings, we have the potential to, like, do so much so quickly that we forget that there's a divine timing and process to the unfoldment of things and what we're doing. And so just remembering to check in is going to be really crucial in August, Manny Jen. And the Lovers card came out. So there's a lot being created. There's a lot forming. There's a lot, you know, for some of us, we're entering into new relationships. We're, you know, ending a lot of chapters of either that relationship with impatience. You know, we have a relationship with everything in our lives. And so there's really just a whole revigorated sense of what we have relationships with in our lives, what feelings we have relationships with, as well as the actual literal people we have relationships with. And so it feels like there's just a lot, maybe that seemed like it was falling apart in July, that's really re-solidifying in a new invigorated way in August. And patience is the most important thing to remember and cultivate through this time. I'm going to pull a clarifier for the Lovers. So let's get a clarifier card for the Lovers for manifesting generators in August. 10 of Cups. A lot of you are reaching your happy ending. A lot of you have been releasing a lot. And this month is the time when that, almost like you're being rewarded for everything that you've let go of. And the more you cultivate a sense of patience with your process and the timing of your process, the greater satisfaction you're going to feel when those things do really start to show up in your life. I'm also getting the message for you, Manny Jens, that you all really feel it coming in, but just because it hasn't come in yet doesn't mean it's not coming in. Does that make sense? So trust the divine timing, trust that it's all happening according to plan, and that what you want, what you desire, what you can feel coming in is coming in. And when it appears to you in the physical world, right, it will be so rewarding and will feel so satisfying, because this is something you worked really hard for a really long time. And there was just a period of adjustment that needed to take place before it could solidify and actually be here. So just know that it's coming in. I mean, 10 of Cups. I don't know if I said this was the card that came out already, but this is the card that came out to clarify the Lovers. Like, it's coming in. Trust. Trust, trust, trust. All right, that's what I have for you, Manny Jens. Let me know how that resonated with you in the comments. I'm going to pull for generators now. All right, what do we have for generators? Ooh, generators in the month of August. This Magician card is freaking awesome. I'm so excited to show you guys this almost a generator card. I feel like this is the generator card, the Magician. It's like you guys have everything you need to create whatever brings you joy. Like, just about remembering that you have it and you can do it. All right, what else do we have for generators in the month of August? Lots of Pentacles energy. I feel like a lot of us are really reframing our connection or relationship with money. I mean, there's a lot of changes just happening in the economy that's really having us innovate in a lot of new ways. You know, it's like the wealthiest people some of the wealthiest people alive today have gotten wealthy in periods of recession or economic turmoil. Just requires innovation, just requires doing things differently and being open to that insight, that guidance, that innovation, not letting the mind shy you away. All right, what else do we have for generators in August? Feels like you all have a lot of options. There might be just a little bit of feeling overwhelmed. You all are also experiencing a big ending. I mean, this is really the theme for a lot of us right now, is letting go, shedding, cycles ending, things, dying, so we can move into the new. So whatever is coming in can be born. Yeah, August feels very scattered for you generators. It feels like that might just be a mental thing too. It's like you really need to make sure that you have this connection with nature, with grounding yourself in whatever way resonates with you, either meditation or movement. I think this is something that's not talked about enough when it comes to generator energy, is like having that defined sacral. You really need to be moving. You really need to be exercising. You really need to be pushing energy through your body in the ways that feel good to you to do, because that's going to help ground you. That's going to help also relieve a little bit of this just overwhelm of feeling scattered, of feeling like you have a lot of things you could do, a lot of places you could go, a lot of things you could respond to, right? It feels like things are coming in really quickly, and it's going to create a lot of financial success, a lot of just security in the material realm. And just know that there's no wrong decision. Whatever you decide to do, whatever your sacral is like, yeah, like whatever your body is pulling you towards, that's what's meant for you. And you can't possibly make the wrong decision. And if you do make the wrong decision, you can always change it, right? You can always move in a new direction, or, just let go of that thing to be moving into what you wanted, because after saying yes to it, you realize it's not actually what you wanted, right? So be open to change, be open to saying yes to something and then realizing, oh, no, I'm going to change my mind. Be open to that this month, because it feels like that might be just a little bit of the energy coming in through August, is like just kind of reassessing, realigning through the taking action towards what's coming in for you guys, if that makes sense. You all also got the Ace of Cups came out, as well as the 10 of Pentacles. So it feels like, again, like there's a lot of just opportunity coming in. There's a lot of chance for happiness, for creation, for, I've been hearing from a lot of you all that are generators that you're like, I don't know what my passion is. I feel burnt out. I feel like I don't have any passions. Like, maybe this is just a time period of rest for you. Maybe this is just a time period of like waiting for that energy to recharge, so that you can have that energy to take action towards whatever it is that comes in once you've been through that period of rest and recovery, right? So just being patient with yourself through this process is really going to help a lot. And just also like not thinking of it as like, I think a lot of us, when we hear, pursue your passions or pursue what brings you joy, people are like, oh, that means I have to it has to be something that I get really super excited about. Like, no, it can just be like what comes natural to you. What do you just like find yourself literally gravitating towards? Like, is it knitting? Is it macrame? Is it like wanting to pull tarot cards for people? Is it wanting to learn about astrology? Is it wanting to like go out in nature and go on hikes? Like, what pulls you towards it? Because, excuse me, that is your passion. Even if it doesn't feel like I'm so passionate about this, like Gary V level, like it doesn't need to be that. It can be whatever you just literally love to do, and whatever you're just naturally gravitated towards doing, and whatever just feels like a natural flow for you too. Like, you're meant to be in flow. You're meant to really live through your sacral response of the flow of that. So just allowing and honoring that flow is going to help a lot in August. And two, not making yourself complete something or stick to something, or like because you said yes to it, you have to like prove that you can do it and like see it all the way through. Like, no, if you get into it and you're like, never mind, allow yourself to move on, allow yourself to change direction, because that's not only just going to serve you, but it's going to serve everyone around you. And don't be scared to let go of things. Don't be scared to let go of what you have. Don't be scared of, like, we can't grow when we're stagnant. So don't be fearful of letting go of things, like especially if you have an open or undefined spleen, like you need to be letting go of what's not good for you. And an open or undefined spleen can cause a fear of letting go, right? But don't let that mental chatter dissuade you from what you're actually feeling in your gut, what you're actually feeling inside of like wanting to let go of it. So don't hold on to things that aren't good for you this month. Really allow yourself to live and flow and know that you have everything you need to create what you want, and letting go to create space for that to come in and to have more energy towards, you know, what you actually want to be doing versus the thing you're shooting yourself into doing, right? That you really realize, oh, it's not for you. Like allow yourself to let go of it so that you can have space for that new thing, because it is going to come in when you have space for it, but it requires a little bit of letting go for that to come in. And don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the choices you have. You know, really allow that to be like an experiment of like, what does my sacral want to do? What is my gut telling me I want to do? Like, yes, I have a lot of options, but which one do I really want to do? Don't get in your head about it. Like, oh, well, this, and this, like, no, just trust your gut, follow your sacral. What is your body literally saying? Like, yes, to like really have it be a kind of reframe into that of like, this is an experiment to check more in with my sacral response. This is an experiment to check more in with myself and what excites me, and to say yes towards that versus saying yes towards this one opportunity because I should, or because it seems like the best option. Like, no, the best option is what your sacral is telling you to go towards. So how can you use this opportunity to trust that and to live more in alignment with that? So that's what August is bringing for you, generators. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments. And happy August. All right, manifestors, and then I'll be doing projectors. Last but definitely not least. Oh gosh, oh gosh. All right. I'm really excited to take a nap after this. I didn't realize how much energy this would be. It's fun. Okay, the Chariot, we got the 8 of Pentacles, we got the 10 of Wands, 9 of Cups, the Fool, and the Moon. Interesting. Okay, manifestors, I feel like you guys are really, like, the Chariot card is, he's like literally in a spaceship. Like, I feel like that's your energy right now, manifestors. Like, there's just so much happening and so much that you guys are moving forward on and with. It's like, and it's really, you know, you're really putting in the work as you go, but you're also like really moving forward in a lot of ways, like releasing, you know, those old expectations or those old beliefs, and like really moving forward in your life through the work that you're doing. And maybe you guys are even like, you know, your work's really busy. If you have a business, it's been really busy, that kind of energy. And so it's really, you're just, there's a lot of momentum, but just make sure that you're not, you know, overextending yourself or overworking yourself, or, you know, feels like there just might be some things that you all are doing that you're like, you're piling too much on your plate. Like, it's like, it's almost like that energy, like when you're at a buffet and you put too much food on your plate, and then like the plate literally falls because it was like too heavy for you to carry, and you have like so much else that you're carrying. That's kind of the energy for you, I feel like, in August, manifestors, is you might be putting too much on your plate. You might be wanting to carry too many things. So how can you cultivate more balance? How can you spread things out more evenly so that there's not so much on your plate all at once, and not run the risk of that like collapse and then needing like a lot of, I feel like this is such a common thing I see with manifestors, is like you guys go, go, go because you're an energy type. And then you need like 2 weeks of downtime after that go, go, go period, when it could just be more even keel if you allow yourself to not go, go, go so quickly and do so much so soon. So that is something to really be aware of in August, manifestors. And I feel like through that, you all are really realizing what you need to cultivate more balance and be more on an even scale with your energy. With the 9 of Cups, it's like you're really getting everything you've asked for this month, but it's also like, you know, don't rush yourself to have it all figured out or to hold on to everything that's coming in. Like that's kind of like I'm feeling, and like there's a little bit of like scarcity there. It's like, oh, if I don't say yes to all this right now, like it's going to be gone and then I'll never have it again. It's like, no. Like the fact that it's coming in is showing you what's possible, but you just need to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's in balance, right? That's in harmony. And this is, again, a big theme for all of us in August, but especially for you all, so that you don't burn yourself out. This also goes for projectors, because you all are sensitive to that too, with the open sacral. And then with the full and the moon card, I feel like you all are really beginning a new relationship with your emotions, with your intuition. It's almost like you're learning how to live more in tune with your intuition and trust your connection to spirit versus the human mind that's like should do blah, 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 like the scarcity, like mental tornado. Like you're learning how to trust more of like your connection to your intuition, to spirit. And this is really kickstarting this new venture for you and new relationship with yourself and with your work. And I feel like through this, you guys are really learning what you need to come into a greater sense of balance and not put too much on your plate too quickly, too soon, so that you don't burn yourselves out. So that's kind of like the big theme of August, is like there's going to be a lot coming in really quickly, and it's important for you to just make sure that you're not acting on it too quickly to lead to burnout, and making sure that you're checking in with your open and undefined sacral, right? And knowing when enough is enough. And using that in alignment with your strategy and authority as always. So that's what I have for you, manifestors. Let me know how that resonates in the comments. All right, projectors. Big theme of balance this month. I feel like it's kind of been the theme all year. Projectors, oh my gosh, you guys have a lot. Okay, the World. Six of Pentacles. I feel like with this World card, projectors, it's like you are realizing your gifts, you're realizing your talents, you're realizing the way you want to show up in the world and how you can be seen by the world, to be recognized in your gifts and invited to share them, right? That's what your strategy is all about. And you guys don't use your strategy often because you're not really meant to, right? So it's all about doing what you love, allowing yourself to be seen in doing what you love, putting yourself out into the world to call in that recognition from the world. But it starts with being seen. Like no one knows what you're good at if you're not allowing yourself to be seen and putting yourself out there to be seen in it. I wonder if you guys have been seeing a lot of sixes too. Oh gosh. Sixes or fours or eights. All right, what else do we have for projectors in August? You guys are moving on from rocky waters, it feels like. You're moving on from things that really drained you. Ooh, lots of clearing happening for you all this month. You're really balancing your scales in your work and your life. Again, big theme for everybody right now is work-life balance. But you guys, this is really affecting your guys' energy. You're learning how to give to yourself more. You're learning how to allow others to give to you. All right, projectors. Yeah, lots of, let's see, that's, yeah, threes, fours, sixes. Maybe y'all haven't seen those a lot. Threes are about creativity. Four is about grounding. Six is about connection to, wait, no, what is six about? Thoughts, I think. I don't remember. But I feel like you all are really learning what you need to live more in alignment with your correctness, right? To live more in alignment with your strategy and authority, to live more in a balanced way so that you're not like, boo, 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 right? It's like, how can you really honor your own process, your own energetics, and really like kind of bury everything else, bury everything that hasn't been aligned for you, bury everything that you've been wanting to like make work or trying to force to work that just hasn't really been working, so that you can have space for really what is going to work and really like have time to cultivate that and not be just spinning your wheels, right? I talked about this earlier in the update of like, if you're, if you're like really in that mental chatter right now, that mental tornado of, no, I have to do this, like this is the only way that this can work, you're gonna be spinning your wheels in mud. You're not really going to be going very far very quickly, versus if you just took a step back and ask yourself, okay, how can I do this differently? What are some ways that, innovation can be brought to this thing so that it is more in alignment with me, that it is more easeful, that it is more joyful, that it is more, allowing you to have space to express your creativity? Because as a projector, you're so deeply creative, but it's like that has been so conditioned in our society is like, well, you can't make money with creativity, blah, blah, blah. Like that, literally the opposite is true. Like, so how can you really be more in that mindset of like, okay, yes, whatever I really want to be doing and sharing it with the world is what is going to lead me to that success. You, as a projector, are deeply, deeply, deeply wired for success. And it's all about trusting what you want to do and what is going to allow you to express that creativity. That's going to lead you to success, not trying to mental things or do things in a certain way that you've seen everyone else doing. No, like what is your own unique process and how can you honor that? And how can you like move on from the old, that not you, right? And move into you to align with your success, because that is like truly what's meant for you. Don't hold on to those like old ways of being. Like if it's not working, it's not working. And so how can you innovate? How can you move on? How can you celebrate your successes, celebrate what you've learned from that experience, but know that that's not how you have to continue living, and you can innovate, you can make changes, you can move into a new way of doing things that is more in alignment with your success, and that is going to be more easy and more joyful for you and not going to drain your energy as much. So that's what August feels like for you projectors, of like really just this big theme of reassessing the ways you've been committing your energy to things that hasn't been working for you, or that's been just feeling really exhausting. Like it's like you've been in this maybe like rat race, and it's like, okay, how can I like just stop the freaking hamster wheel and do things in a way that I want to, because that is literally what's telling you what's right for you, what's meant for you, what's going to lead you to success, versus spinning your wheels and doing things like everyone else is just going to keep perpetuating the hamster wheel, the rat race, right? And this, trusting your inner authority, trusting your inner process is what's going to lead you to have more hope and cultivate more confidence as well with yourself and your process and what you're doing. So that feels like, it was a short message, but it feels like there was a lot of wisdom in that message. So I'm going to leave you there, projectors. Reflect on that. Reflect on the ways of being that haven't been working for you, that have felt exhausting, that you're just like honestly tired of doing, and let them go. What are the ways you want to be doing things? What are the ways you want to be moving forward? And reflect on that and start doing those things, because that's what's going to lead you to success. And that's what I have for you in August, projectors. Sending you so much love. Let me know in the comments how this resonated with you. I'm gonna check the comments real quick, and then that is it for today's live. Thank you all for being here. I've had in human design. Oh, thanks, Christine. I appreciate it. Well, I hope that message resonated with you, Christine. That's funny. I didn't even see that before. Amazing. I appreciate you all so much. I love you all so much. Thanks for being here with me today. And I will see you in the next live. Bye.